Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Carrie Roldan Show, where we spend 30 minutes or so having conversations that matter to the entrepreneur's body, mind, and business. I'm your host, Carrie Roldan, and I'm a wife, a mother, a runner, a best-selling author, a personal growth junkie, and your total business BFF. And I am known as the business BFF for good reason. As a gifted intuitive, I can read between the lines, hear what you are not saying, and quickly get to the heart of the matter. So we can remove resistance and create the aligned business that your soul is aching for. My work consists of equal parts compassion, intuition, aligned business strategy, and marketing wizardry, not wizardry. And if you want more information on how to work with me, you can go to carrieroldan.com/apply. I am so excited about today's show, you guys. I can hardly wait. But before we get to our guest, I want to make sure that I mention our sponsor. So today's episode of the Carrie Roldan Show is sponsored by Intuitive Art by Rachel Archelaus. And I'm actually, for those of you who are watching, I'll put the link on the screen right now. If you'd like to learn how to have a two-way conversation with your higher self, it's a great idea to take Rachel's free intuitive art class, which you can see the link on the screen. And for those of you listening, it'll be in the show notes, but it is carrieroldan.com/intuitive art. When you take this class, you'll learn how to let your higher self tell you your next step to greater abundance and the next steps in your business. I love this process so much. I'm actually in the process of becoming a certified intuitive artist myself. So I highly recommend go to carrieroldan.com/intuitive art. Okay, I'm so excited about today's guest, mostly because I was thinking back in my head, our paths have crossed several times over the past, I think it's been about 15 years. I've known my guest since she was, I think, like 14 or 15 years old, which is really cool to watch the different phases of her life and career. So my guest is Collins Reid from SISSFiT, and I'm going to read you an intro so I don't get distracted telling you guys all the little nuances of our relationship. So Collins Reid, let me say this again. My mouth is not working. Collins Reid is half of the dynamic sister duo that runs SISSFiT, which is a virtual training brand that is quickly becoming the go-to place for busy women who want to burn fat, improve speed, and build lean muscle. She and her sister Kelly empower women to look and train like athletes, and they're uniquely qualified to do what they do. Lauren is a former heptathlete turned high jumper who, after qualifying for the 2012 Olympic trials, suffered a foot injury that prompted her retirement as a competitive athlete and launched her into full-time sports modeling. Her mission is to empower women to feel strong and comfortable in their own skin. And she has a huge desire she had a huge desire. She's now started a family. But this prompted the collaboration with her sister, Kelly, who we'll hear more about in a few weeks, and the creation of her brand, which we'll be talking about today, which is SISSFiT. So Collins Reid, I am putting your face on the screen right now. All right, there you are. Say hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me on, Carrie. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. I've been wanting to have this conversation for, interestingly, probably years. Like before you even started SISSFiT, you've been on my mental radar as someone who I thought would be a really interesting guest. So I'm thrilled to have you now talking about the brand that you've created. And the topic that I've given the show today when I've been promoting it is talking about the importance of finding your niche. So I'm excited to dive into that conversation with you. You're welcome. So let's start with, I usually ask two basic questions on the show. And the first one is, how did you come to do what you do? So I just quickly gave she was an athlete and then she was a model and now she does this. But can you give us a little bit more in-depth explanation of how you got here?
Yeah, definitely. So as you said, I started out as an athlete. I graduated college and it was kind of like what's next. I still didn't feel like I had really finished my career as an athlete. So I decided I wanted to train for the 2012 Olympic trials, although as a post-collegiate athlete, how do you make money? How do you survive and still follow your dreams? So I was doing a bit of coaching, a little bit of bartending, ended up kind of falling into sports modeling on accident, if you will. And I think I just hit the market at the right time. Health and active lifestyle is, I mean, thankfully still huge, but I think it was really just starting to take off. And there were a lot of brands looking for real athletes and runners and yogis and those that embody a healthy lifestyle. And so that's how I fell into my sports modeling career. And I never would have dreamed the career that I had, the travel that I had, the experiences. And it was absolutely incredible. But being a realistic person, I think I kind of knew this isn't going to last forever. Let's ride it while I can. I knew that I wanted to start a family and kind of was trying to figure out, okay, what's the next step? What does that look like? I still want to stay in the sports world, but I don't know if I want to dive into a full-time corporate career now. And so it's kind of this in between. And my sister and I had been talking about, sorry, my air conditioning just kicked on. Is it really loud?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Just want to make sure it's not distracting. So my sister Kelly and I had been talking for a long time, or actually how it kind of came up. When I was traveling modeling, I was in the most random locations working, I mean, up to 15, 16-hour days. Some days were 8 hours, some days were 10, 12. You never know. You're in these random locations. A lot of them don't have gyms. You're in a hotel room. You just traveled, overnight, or you're jet lagged, and there's so little time for working out and for really trying to be healthy and pack the right snacks and that sort of thing. And going from training as a heptathlete 5-6 hours a day, now I had about 30 minutes a day. And it's like, how am I going to stay healthy? How am I going to stay fit? That's what these brands are hiring me to do. And I got to figure this out. And Kelly, on the flip side, was working a sales career. And so she had really long days. And then it was client dinners and going out for drinks and trying to, still fit in a workout, but do all of that as well. So we constantly found ourselves like, okay, this is the quick hotel room workout I just did. Okay, this is the treadmill workout I did. Okay, are you going to be home on Saturday? We need to get to the track together. Like, how are we going to do this? And so we both kind of fell into that in our own way and thought, you know what, we're not the only women that are feeling this way. I mean, there are so many moms, there are so many business women, there are so many people in general that just maybe don't know how to work out efficiently, or don't know, they need something fresh to mix things up, or they can only work out from home and they have these limitations. And so we started brainstorming. We're like, you know what, we would love to just provide like a go-to place to have these workouts for busy women. And that's kind of where it started. And it's evolved a little bit from there. That's kind of broad. And we've, like you said, we'll talk about the niche, I'm sure, but
yeah, well, so I want to back up a little bit because I'm so curious about the transition from college to athlete to model. And the reason I'm curious about this is because so backstory, Lauren and I met when she was in high school because I used to coach at the high school that she went to. And we were trying to figure out if we were actually there at the same time. And I think maybe I had just left when she came in, but I was still good friends with the head coach, and she wound up, she was always around. She was a really great track athlete. And so we just sort of knew each other through the track world. And then about the time I was done coaching high school, she went to college. And so did I. My husband and I started volunteer assistant coaching at UC Irvine, which is where Lauren went to college. So we've sort of been like on the periphery of each other's lives.
Yeah.
Like I was never your direct coach, but I always had an eye on your athletic career, right? Like I had an interest in how Lauren Collins was doing. And then as happens with a lot of athletes, and what I found when I was at UC Irvine is people graduate college and expect that they are qualified or prepared for what comes next, only to recognize that they've actually been dropped off a cliff. Like I found it really interesting when you said, I was deciding if I really want to go into a corporate career. And I was like laughing at that. This is the entrepreneur in me speaking now, but like, does anybody really want to go to that corporate career? And so you got into modeling. And so you were specifically paid to model to look like an athlete. Is that right?
For the most part, yes.
So even after you finished being an athlete, it was still technically your job to be an athlete.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so the reason I'm having this conversation with you is because I feel like there's a lot of us who are former athletes who turn into entrepreneurs. And so I think the first question I want to ask you, which isn't really about being finding your niche, although we're going to get there, is how do you think that being an athlete, specifically a heptathlete, right, where you had to balance all those events, prepared you to be an entrepreneur? Because in my view, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, being a model is a form of being an entrepreneur. It's still, you're still your brand.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. If you break your leg, everyone's like, okay, see you later. Like, great job. Good working with you. Hope you can figure it out, you know? So there is, I mean, I've got great agents and I love them to death, but there is definitely that sense of like, okay, I have to make myself available. I have to say yes and travel and make those, like you said, you're a freelancer, you're kind of an entrepreneur. But it's still a little bit different because someone else still is involved in directing you and you kind of know that. And so being an entrepreneur obviously is much different than that. But I think the athlete behind me is like, you can't fail. I mean, you won't let yourself fail. Not that you can't, we failed 1,000 times already, yes. But you won't let yourself fail. And there have been so many times that Kelly and I have just wanted to say, forget it. You know, this isn't for us. We kind of thought we could do it and it's just not going the way we planned, or it's not, maybe we thought it was going to take off sooner than it did. And so many things, like we hate spending so many hours behind a computer. We thought like we're writing these training guides. That's what we should be doing. We want to be working out. And all of a sudden we're spending hours and hours and hours inside behind a computer. And it's like, what are we doing? And so there have been so many aspects, but I think always going back to that athlete mindset, it's like, you can do it. You've pushed through so many things throughout your career, whether it's injuries, whether it's failures, and you've just kind of realized like, if you love something, you're going to work for it and you're going to figure out how to get there, even if it's not the direct path that you planned initially, I guess.
Oh my God. I love that. That was so well said. So I felt like now was a good time to put your website up. So, yeah. So it's interesting because I learned about you guys and SISSFiT, right? Because I happen to follow you on Instagram. Because I was a stalker of your modeling career, right? I was like proud of this girl who you're welcome.
Thank you.
But I was proud of this girl who I had watched grow up, right? And then I was watching you, and Lauren you spoke briefly about your modeling career, but you really, like you said, you hit the market at the right time. There was a moment in time where I could not go anywhere without seeing Lauren Collins. Like, she was in Kohl's and she was in Dick's Sporting Goods, and I was like at Marshall's getting a yoga mat, and Lauren was on the yoga mat, and like you turn on the television and I'm like, those are Lauren's abs doing that. Like, she was everywhere for a while. And if you're watching the YouTube or you're watching us on Facebook Live, you can see she's blushing a little bit. But that's a really cool thing to have happen to you. But so I was following you on Instagram, and then I saw you guys sort of emerge with this SISSFiT brand. And it's great to hear that the story came out of necessity and not out of like, you know what we can do for other people? You know what everyone else in the world needs? Like, it came out of you guys being real women, real former athletes, real, and Kelly models too, correct?
Yes, she does.
Yeah. So you're both trying to balance like having a life and a modeling career and recognizing if I'm doing this, and Kelly had a corporate career as well. If I'm doing this well, like where the heck, one, I don't know. This happened for me when I finished being an athlete, is like, do I even like doing this? Like, it's been my job for so long. Do I even like this? Like, I think,
right.
Right?
Totally.
And then, which I think will get us to the conversation about how you guys found your niche. Because what I want to say is, this is what, from the outside looking in, and from someone who is in the business development world and helps people figure out who they are and what they stand for and what they do, it's so great for me to hear you guys say, oh my God, we wanted to quit. We weren't sure what we were doing. We like all of that, because what both of you had mastered very well, being fitness models, is looking like fitness models on your Instagram. And you were great at posting. I still love, one of the things I love about SISSFiT, which if you're not following them on Instagram, do it, is they're constantly posting cute little, like, I don't want to say cute. They're cute because they do them really fast, but a quick 15-minute workout, right? Like something that I can watch the Instagram and go, okay, I'll do what Kelly and Lauren did today. Okay, so where am I going with this question? Let me back it up. So I guess it's just this, is you talked about, you know, being an athlete and recognizing like sometimes you just, you fail or you fall down or you get injured and you realize I'm going to keep doing this. So what was it with SISSFiT that you realized I need to keep doing this, right? Because I think all of us in our business get to a point where we go, this isn't about me anymore. This isn't about me being a successful entrepreneur. So have you gotten there? And if you have, what was that?
Yeah. So I would say I feel like we're finally getting there. With all the times we wanted to give up, I can honestly say from a pride standpoint, I was fine with giving up. It wasn't about that. Thankfully, I mean, part of you is like, I can do it. And then there comes a point where it's like, okay, if I don't do it, it's not the end of the world. Like, it's not a knock on who I am or the effort I put in, but you know, maybe this just isn't it for us. And I think it was, honestly, it was the women in our community, and it was like the positive feedback. And it was so hard to get that far and to put so much in and to start getting that community response that we had been really looking for, and feeling like we're actually helping people to go, okay, are we just going to shut it down tomorrow? Like, are we really done with this? Are we going to shut it down? And are we going to be, not that people were so attached, or, you know, there are plenty of other fitness accounts to follow, but we really did feel like we started bonding with these women, and to just say, forget it, was kind of, I would say, the biggest driving factor to keep going. But at the same time, it was like, okay, we can keep going, but are we succeeding? Or are we just kind of like in neutral, cruising along? Are we going to make this a full-time thing? Is it a part-time thing? Are we going to just keep full-time jobs on the side and do this for fun? And so that was like a really hard place to be in, and especially with your sister. And for me, I'm married. I knew I wanted to start a family. I was traveling a lot. And for Kel, she was in a corporate career, and she was on the fence of like, you know, do I do this full-time? Do I give up my career for this? Or do I put it on the side, or how's this going to work? And so we just had to come together and go, okay, we are doing this. We can do this. And I think that's kind of when we realized, okay, there are thousands of other people doing this as well. So how are we any different? And how do we want to be different? And I think that's kind of what drove us to our niche. And we're still figuring that out. But one aspect of it, I think, is the relationship and the family aspect. I think there are so many attractive, fit, wonderful trainers, especially in LA. And I think that one thing that's really important to us is not necessarily being fit and perfect forever, but kind of being able to grow and just go through the phases of life, whether you're single and have all the time in the world and want to just like spend a lot of time working out and be super fit, or whether you're a mom or a working woman and you don't have a lot of time and you just want to fit it in because it feels good and it gives you more energy and you can keep up with your kids a little better. So we definitely want to create a brand that kind of grows and to focus on that relationship, that family aspect. So like Kel's been totally picking up the slack while I just had my newborn. And I hope and pray that, you know, I'll do the same for her at some point. And when she's on the road traveling, you know, I kind of step in. And so that's a really important thing for us. And ironically, a lot of the women that we've connected with in our community have 3-4 kids of their own and don't have the time and can't get into a gym. And so our guides have worked really well for them, which is great to see. And then I think the other aspect is we love circuit training, like fitting things in a hotel room. And we kind of realized we always come back to, we were both sprinters in college. I mean, I did the heptathlon, so I had the 100-meter hurdles, the 200, the 800 was my longest race. So I'm not a distance runner. And Kelly was a hurdler. So and we both ran actually the 4x4 relay together. So that was really fun in college, but she was a 400 hurdler, a 100 hurdler. So we are much more about like, get after it, go hard and be done with it. So we're not spending hours in a gym, and nothing against distance running. I think it's great. Our bodies just have kind of broken down when we've tried it in the past. And so I think that we kept finding that, yes, although we did all this strength training, we kept coming back to this high intensity cardio, whether it was like I'm injured and have an elliptical. I was doing a lot of elliptical circuits, especially when I was pregnant, whether we're running intervals on the treadmill, inclines, sprints, that sort of thing. We realized, you know what, maybe that's not what everyone else is doing. Like maybe a lot of the community is steering away from doing cardio these days. I mean, there's a lot of heavy lifting, Olympic lifting, circuit training, CrossFit, and they're all great things. We just found ourselves like, no, we still always want that high intensity cardio. And so we find both important, but it's kind of interesting to share this. I don't know. It's new to a lot of people, I think, running on a treadmill and changing your speeds and inclines all the time. And so we found that we wrote this treadmill guide called Accelerate that we still do like at least 3 days a week. And we used to, I mean, as track and field athletes, especially in Southern California, getting on a treadmill was like the worst thing in the world. I mean, oh, horrible, right? But then once we figured out this way of training, we're like, oh my gosh, this is so efficient. And we can do it when we're on the road and when there's just a little hotel gym, or, you know, you just got to pop in your local 24-hour fitness or whatever it is. And it's definitely become a go-to for us and kind of structured. Then we realized, okay, the way we're pushing it there, we can get outside and we can run a hill the same way, or we can run stairs the same way, or we can get on a track, or we can go for a long distance run and just, you know, sprint and jog and just kind of mix it up in that way. And so I'm sorry, this got so long-winded, but that's kind of where our niche is right now. And we're really enjoying it because we're getting so much great feedback from all these women, and I mean, men as well, that are just like, you know, I've always hated running. Actually, this one woman just wrote in recently and was like, I think my husband looked at me like I had two heads when I told him that I liked running. And all of a sudden I liked running again. And we were just dying. I mean, little things like that, or, you know, I haven't run in 10 years, or I got away from it. And I've never felt so lean or so fit, or I've never run that fast. I mean, our guides definitely push you to run faster than you probably have in a long time. And so a lot of people are like, I feel like a kid again. I feel like I haven't sprinted like that in 20 years. Or, you know, everyone at the gym is looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm about to fly off the back of my treadmill, but I felt so amazing. And I don't know. So it's been so overwhelming to get that type of feedback and to feel like you're giving people something that they haven't seen in a while, I guess.
And distinguishing yourself from the rest of the market. And that's what I'm so excited about for you guys, is I've been watching you. First of all, SISSFiT, you've only been a brand for what, 2 years?
Yes.
Correct. So
actually, so sorry, Kel just reminded me today. Wait, sorry, I'm trying to remember. 2015 or 16? Maybe it was like this day, I think in 2015, gosh, 3 years ago, that we were like, okay, we're going to do this. And then, no, I'm sorry, it was 2016. And then we didn't launch our first guide until December of that year, but it was like April 9th that we're like, okay, we're going to do SISSFiT. This sounds great.
This is exciting because the day that we're recording this, it is April 9th. So happy anniversary, Lauren.
Thank you.
Okay, no, I am so excited to talk about finding your niche because this is one of the things that so many entrepreneurs struggle with. And when I talk with Kelly in a couple weeks, we're going to be talking about a trap that all of us women fall into, not just entrepreneurs, but this comparing ourselves to other people, to other brands, and or trying to be like another brand, right? Like looking at someone's Instagram or someone's webpage, and I'm in the middle of redoing my webpage right now, and I know better, and I'm falling into the trap anyways of like, well, do I want to be like this person or I want to be like that person? And we all know, all of us who've been entrepreneurs for a while, like you actually don't find success until you find your unique way. And what I love about you being a runner, so just a story on me, I am a distance runner, but not a long distance runner. So when I competed in college, I was what was called middle distance. So Lauren's longest event, the 800, was my shortest event. Actually, sometimes I ran the 4x4 also, but infrequently. But regardless, right, I remember loving the difference that happened in not just my physical body, like the way that I looked, but there was definitely a difference in the way that I looked in cross country season where I was racing 5K and track season where I was racing like 1,500 meters. Like I could see and feel a difference. I was leaner. I felt stronger. I of course felt faster. But just there is an aliveness that happens when you do high intensity cardio. And I'd actually never heard that term high intensity cardio before. Did you guys coin that? Or
you know what? We're kind of thinking we might have, like not really intentionally, but I'm not, yeah, we might have. I don't want to take credit, but I'm not sure.
Well, I'm going to give you credit because I didn't hear anybody else say it before you.
Awesome. Thank you.
But so what I like about this is the story of you guys finding your niche, right? First of all, you started in a niche. For those of you who don't understand what we're talking about, a niche is just like your slice of the market. So they started in the health and fitness niche, right? Like pretty broad. But you quickly found inside of that niche, you were going to do kind of short, intense workouts, right? You weren't like P90X, right? You were
right.
Okay, we're going to give you some.
We've got modifications kind of for, I would say kind of for anyone. You can, everything is time based. You can do 10 reps while someone else does 30 reps. It's kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility to take it at your speed, but to push yourself as hard as you want to and get the results that you want, no matter what level you're taking.
Which I just love. But then I knew you guys were launching something new and I didn't really know what it was. And I just decided it was time to talk to you. And I had a conversation with you and Kelly last week and you said those words. You said high intensity cardio. And I was like, I'm your person, right? Like instantly I knew, oh, this is what I want, right? Like I was following you guys before because I already knew and loved you. But there was nothing really to distinguish you from anybody else out there except for that you're adorable and you're sisters and like there was that. But the minute you said those words, and this is the importance, you guys, of having a niche, right? Of being able to clearly, like what they did is they narrowed their niche. They went from sort of broad to, we're in health and fitness and we have short, convenient workouts that anybody can do to we have that, but our expertise is high intensity cardio. And they said those words and I raised my hand.
Thanks, Carrie. You're like nailed it. You totally nailed exactly like what we're hoping people to see. So thank you.
Yeah, well, that's why I have you. I mean, I would have you on my show regardless, but I got so excited about this, about that, because I think it's so important. I know I was telling you a couple weeks ago, like that's what's been missing in my workout life. Is it's easy to be a distance runner. It's easy to go on a run and do your 5 miles at your normal pace, like, but never push. And then be upset when you don't see results. And I actually know a lot of people who get excited about training for a marathon because they think they're going to lose weight.
Yes.
Only to discover that they're in shape to run a marathon, but that they don't look or feel any leaner.
100%. And like, I think we see that a lot. Sorry, I didn't mean to totally cut you off.
No, cut me off. If you don't cut me off, you'll never get a word in edgewise. So.
No, we see that all the time. And we see then a lot of people diving in from not being a runner to wanting to train for a marathon. And not only are they not getting in shape the way they want to, but they're getting injured and they're, falling into shin splints and knee problems and back issues. And it's just, and Kel and I mean, Kel was actually training for a half marathon a few years back. And I was like, yeah, hey, I'll be a good sister. I'll train with you, jump into a quick 8-mile run. And yeah, I felt great while I was running. Well, there goes my T-band. And I was out for a couple months, which is a long time for me as an athlete, knowing how to properly recover. And I couldn't believe it. So I think that one of the things we're trying to prevent injury on top of making you fitter and faster and stronger and leaner and all of that, it's a lot less impact to jump on a treadmill for 30 minutes 3 times a week and get even better results than trying to get out for too many long distance runs. But on the flip side, it's been really, really cool. When we kind of did a trial run before we launched Accelerate, and we had men, we had women, we had moms, we had younger former athletes, and then we actually had a couple of half marathon, and ultra marathon runners doing our guide as well. And I was thinking, wow, I'm shocked that an ultra marathon runner would even offer to run 30-minute workouts 3 times a week. And even the ultra marathoner, she was like, my times have improved tremendously in my races. And one of our half marathoners, she was averaging, she just did. She's ridiculous. I mean, she was running, I would say 8-minute pace, running her half marathons, and she was training regularly. She was on a good program, nothing like overly intense, but then she just didn't have time. She's got 2 kids, a really hectic job. And so she's like, I'm just going to do Accelerate. I feel good. I'm going to see how I do in my next half marathon. And she averaged 7:13 pace per mile for that entire half marathon. And she's like, I don't even know. I can't believe it. Like all I've been doing is Accelerate. And not that I want to say like, it's going to give everyone those crazy, crazy results. But it was so cool. She's like, the thing is, I just wasn't pushing myself. I just forgot what it was like to step up to that next level and to trust myself to run or to push myself at the end. And so I think it's just, for a lot of people, it's just getting outside of your comfort zone and trying something new. And even if that's not, maybe you absolutely hate running, maybe it's just a different type of workout, or jumping on an elliptical, and instead of just cruising for 30, 60 minutes, like try bumping up the intensity for a minute and then recover for a minute. And then, do that 10 times for a quick 20-minute workout, and you're going to burn more calories. You're going to tone up. You're going to get all these results that you wouldn't if you were just cruising at a steady pace for a long time. And that's something that I think we take for granted knowing as athletes, but it's really eye-opening to a lot of people who have never tried working out that way. And they realize, oh my gosh, unfortunately, a lot of people would say, oh my gosh, I've wasted so much time in the past, but they're so grateful to now be able to go and show up to the gym for 30 minutes and get a great workout and move on with their day and, get back to their kids or their life or whatever it is.
And feel like an athlete. So that's what I love about your, because I have a friend and client who also she has a program, but it's getting people back into running. But it is exactly that thing that I am identifying myself as someone who, I'm a former athlete. I'm someone who, it was my job for a long time to go running, right? Like to do the hard workouts. Like it was, you showed up, someone said, here's what you do, and you do it. And you like the feeling of doing it, right? But there's a certain amount of, like when you say go outside of your comfort zone, I know you and I are both intimately familiar with booty lock, right? Like we understand, like beyond going outside your comfort zone, beyond making yourself a little bit uncomfortable and like putting on the hurt, right? And there's something super empowering about that. And we started the conversation talking about how being an athlete had prepared you to be an entrepreneur. And I know that there's so many, and we haven't even talked about childbirth, and we're running out of time. So we'll just have to do that another day.
All good.
But there's so many entrepreneurs who are former athletes, right? There's something about having been an athlete, or definitely at least having that athlete mentality, where you understand that there's not necessarily going to be an immediate payoff. But if you just keep showing up, you just keep putting in the work. And if you believe in, what can happen on the other side of the workouts, or the sitting behind the computer, or the failure, whatever it is, that it will be worth it. And I forgot where I was going with that, except for that's why I'm so excited about what you guys have going on now, and why I'm so excited to introduce you to my audience, is because I think there's a lot of us entrepreneurs who used to be athletes who spend a lot of time behind the computer now and miss that. I can't tell you how many people have come to me through, I have a book called Run Yourself Happy, who've come to me through Run Yourself Happy, or just find out that I used to be a running coach and are like, do you have something like, what if we did like a running entrepreneur retreat, right? Like those people exist because that's why people sign up for 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. Like we just want to feel like an athlete again. We want to tap into that working really hard and feeling that payoff. And so that's what I love about what you guys have created. So what are you have 2 guides that are available right now?
So we've got 4 total. We've got Elevate and Elevate 2.0, which is those are both all-inclusive 8-week guides. It's 3 days of strength workouts, 2 days of high-intensity cardio, and those ones can either be treadmill, or you can choose alternative cardio, meaning get outside, treadmill walk, elliptical, bike, swim, you name it. And so every one of those days is outlined for you, 34 minutes or less. And then Saturday is Get Outside Saturday. We encourage you to get outside, go play tennis or golf, or go for a run, or go for a hike, or stand up paddle, whatever. Just get outside, enjoy where you're at. And then Sundays are recovery day. We've got an extended stretching sequence that day. So Elevate, and then Elevate 2.0 is just a more advanced version of that. And then we've got our nutrition guide, which is pretty all-inclusive with a 7-day meal plan, grocery list, dining out tips, pre and post workout snacks. We've got maybe 16 recipes, 8 or 16. I don't know. We've got recipes in there, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, all that. And then our most recent guide, which is what we were talking about and what we're most excited about right now, Accelerate, which is just a 4-week treadmill training guide. And we help you to find your base pace, and then we work off of that. So whether you're a complete beginner or a super elite athlete, we tailor it to you so that we know as coaches that we're finding you at your level and we're pushing you to your edge without breaking you, versus like, okay, jump on with your next door neighbor. I mean, everyone's at a different level. And so it's really important to us to find what your level is and then to coach you from there. And it also takes the guesswork out for you. So you don't have to go, oh, okay, what's a fast run? Is that 6 miles per hour? Is it 8 miles per hour? Like, it feels fast? No, you're going to know, like, you should be running 7.5 miles per hour right now for the next 30 seconds. So it's really specific in that way so that you don't have to think about any of that. And then hopefully you jump off feeling like, oh my gosh, that was one of the hardest workouts and I feel amazing and I kind of want to hate it, but I love it more. And I don't know, that's our goal. And so far that's been a lot of the feedback, and it's really amazing to hear. And so if anyone decides to try it, we have a free workout. We have a free Accelerate workout that you can try. We have a free week of Elevate that you can try. The Elevate, you don't need any equipment for the free trial week. If you sign up for it, then you'll need a set of dumbbells and a step bench. And then Accelerate, you just need a treadmill. So feel free to give them a try.
I'm so in love with this. I'm so grateful to have you on. I can't wait to have Kelly on to just go deeper into your guys' story and especially to talk about, right, this. We've sort of started the conversation on finding your niche because I guess leading into the conversation I'd like to have with Kelly about, God, that trap we all fall into of comparing ourselves. And I love even what you're saying about this Accelerate guide. And I love that it's on the treadmill. I love that it's super specific. I love the most, I think, that it's brainless, right? That you have a coach in your ear.
Exactly.
Right, that you show up, you see what's there, and you just get it done because that's what's on the agenda for today. Yeah. Which is oftentimes a different story than what many of us do as entrepreneurs. So sometimes it's very nice to have someone else just
told what to do. Yes, exactly. We miss that sometimes. That's one of our biggest struggles. But like, where's our coach? We need a coach right now.
Yeah. Well, everyone needs a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plug me right now. No, but for real, that's why that was a question. Actually, we need to go because it's weird. I'm already 8 minutes over, but this is my last question for you, I promise, which is I have watched you guys in your business do some pretty cool things. And I've watched you, I was like geeking out on the software that you guys are using and how well you guys are really, you're microblogging on Instagram, which like we could have conversations about any one of the aspects of the things that you are doing right in your business. And so that's my question is, did you guys hire a coach? Did you have a mentor? Did you just have each other? How's it been these first really 2 years finding your way?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, that's very nice of you because we feel like we are just like scrambling behind the scenes all the time, which thankfully we thought we were the only ones. We've talked to other entrepreneurs. A lot of people feel the same way.
Yeah, we're all doing it.
Make it all appear. It's all good, right? No, but I think it's pretty much just been the two of us, and we've wanted to find a coach and we've wanted to find some direction for a long time. And we've just kind of haven't found the right person. We didn't want to just commit to giving away a huge portion of our business when we're not sure exactly where we want to go or what our niche is or how much time we're truly going to be able to put into it and all of those things. So we've just kind of been floundering a little bit on our own for a while, but now that it's starting to come together, we're starting to work with another girl who's a little bit better on like the marketing and some of the digital stuff that we're just not as familiar with, which hopefully, I mean, we're in the very early stages right now, but hopefully that'll free up a little bit of our time to do more of what we love as far as like the training, writing the workouts, partnering with brands to, produce videos and that sort of thing. Because that's truly much more of our strength than sitting behind a computer. But yeah, like you said, we're all just figuring it out.
Yeah, but that's what I want to give you a high five on is one, anybody who's watching or listening who is an entrepreneur, like let's remember that we're all making it up as we go, right? Like we have coaches to help guide us, to help remind us where we're strong, like where we should be spending our time and where we don't need to be. And it sounds like you and Kelly are figuring I'm really good at
but
I'm really good at this coaching athletes. And so many of us get into business, right? We're good at something and we want to share that. And then there's all these other pieces that we're like, what have I done? And these are not my areas of strength. So anyways, I guess I just want to give you a huge pat on the back and an affirmation that you guys are early in your business. You've already created something that has helped so many people, that has me excited. I know you've been on lots of other podcasts and things. One of the benefits, right, of being sports models is you guys have a little bit of an in that industry. And I say, work it, girl. Like, you take advantage of every opportunity that you have. But mostly, I just want to say, right, they say that most businesses, is it the first, I should know the statistic, but I almost said the SH word. I'm crappy with details. Is it year and a half? I know it's like 5 years. Almost everybody's out of business in the first 5 years. But is it a year and a half?
Yeah, I know I've heard. I'm sorry. Go. Year and a half.
No, you got it. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, I don't know either. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I can't remember the exact years as well. But yes, I know definitely that a lot fall out. And
that's what I want to like just give you a high five on, is you're past that year and a half bump. You've already done so much right. You've already got success stories. You've already got people going. Like, there are so many entrepreneurs who spend the first 2 years just planning. Like, you guys have already done so much right. And I'm so excited to introduce you guys to my community, who are like probably not not your people, right? My people tend to be my age or older, but still excited about what you guys have to offer, which is, none of us are into like just getting a muffin top and aging quote unquote gracefully, right? Like, we're go-getters. We're people who are ready. Oh my gosh, more than anything. Maybe I'm just talking for myself here, but I'm betting that like there's a lot of you raising your hands right now who are ready to work hard in an area of your life besides your business. Yeah. And in fact, I know this for sure. When you so let me see if I can quote myself correctly. I should be able to do this, but it's this. It's when you really tire your body, you can quiet your mind. And when you quiet your mind, that's when all the good stuff comes. And so as an entrepreneur, all of us need to get on the treadmill and do accelerate and tire the F out of our bodies so that we can quiet our minds, so that we can have access to that genius that's waiting to come through us. So.
I love that. I can't believe that you came up with that girl. Like, I am in love with that, because that is truly the only time when I'm pushing my body that hard that I can't think about anything else except for the next 30 seconds, hitting that, moving along. And then you're exactly right. Like, you kind of hit that peak and you're like, oh my gosh, everything is free. And you start thinking about all these genius ideas. And I mean, I literally have to like run to my phone and like write it down and record it really fast, because that's when it all happens. That's cool. Let's do that.
I don't know if you can see, but I have goosebumps, right? Which means we're resonating truth, because that is true, right? It's just a matter of getting out of your head and getting out of your own way. And if you have to run really hard to do that, you've got to run really hard to do that. But that's what, I mean, Lauren, this is why people come to me. Like, people come to me because they're like, I'm too in my head. One of the main things that I'm telling people is you've got to get outside, right? You've got to get out of your current energetic space, and you've got to like work your body. You've got to get your body tired. So I am super excited to send people to SISSFiT.com, get your free workout. Just go ahead and purchase. You can get your free workout, but go ahead and purchase Accelerate. You can find it on their website. Follow Lauren and Kelly on Instagram. If you guys haven't yet, I'm giving you all these things, but it'll all be in the show notes. If you haven't yet joined my Women Entrepreneurs Who Run Facebook community, I've been kind of quiet in there for a while, but this conversation has just got me all excited to like say more stuff in there. So do that as well, everybody, because Lauren and Kelly are in there along with some pretty amazing women entrepreneurs who happen to run. Okay, Lauren, we are long. I'm so glad to have you here. Get back to your baby and your work day. Thank you so much for being a guest. I can't tell you how delightful it's been.
Yes, I know. I feel like we could talk for hours, but thanks for having me on. Sorry to keep us so long, and we'll chat again soon.
Yeah, never apologize. I'll have Kelly on soon, and I have a feeling the world will be seeing a lot more from Lauren Collins Reid and Kelly Collins, the SISSFiT SISSFiT sisters. All right, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Carrie Rolled On Show.
Thanks, Carrie.